Hello and welcome to episode 14 of the SwimRun Show podcast. We've got a really special episode for you this week, but before we crack on and before I forget, which I always do, if you're enjoying the podcast, which I've had quite a few messages and thank you for those of encouragement and support, and I've seen a few of you face-to-face podcast listeners. So yeah, but the thing I keep forgetting to say is follow, like, share it, all that kind of stuff that helps get the word out there, gets the podcast known, and gets SwimRun growing, because we need a bit of growth. Now, Thomas Ogander, founder of One Water Race. If you've not heard of One Water Race, well, it might blow your mind. It's a big one. It's a little bit more than a swim run, shall we say. There's a lot more involved, but there's quite a lot of swimming and running, of course. But yeah, let's just have a listen and you'll find out all about One Water Race with Thomas Ogander. Okay, so we have Thomas Ogander from One Water Race. Hello, Thomas. How are you?
I'm fine. A little bit cold. It's chilly here in Stockholm, Sweden, but we're waiting for the spring and summer to come.
Okay,
But
so
I'm
it's good. What's the temperature out there now?
fine. It was snowing this morning. I don't know. It's about 2, 3, 4 Celsius. So it's really chilly. It's been there for a while.
Okay.
I think this has been the longest winter ever. Well, for a very long period of time, anyway. I think the winter started. The snow came in November,
Right.
So we're quite bored of this right now.
Right. Yeah. Ready to go for the season. Well, it's not far now. May isn't too far away.
No.
And yeah, I mean, my mind is running fast with the One Water Race because if you haven't heard of it, it's massive. So, Thomas, imagine you're trying to explain it to say, I don't know, a triathlete from Sheffield in the middle of the UK, for example.
Yeah,
what is the One Water Race?
Well, One Water Race, we try to be the hardest endurance race, so to speak. When you're just able to use your body, swim and run through the Stockholm archipelago from Arholma in the north to Landsort in the south. There's about 30,000 islands, and to go from Arholma to Landsort, it's about 200 k's of running and 50 k's of swimming, at least, I would say. And the race it's no track. It's just start first to finish, and it's navigation and orienteering to take the fastest way that you think would be the fastest way for you and your team to reach Arholma. And it's quite tough when it comes to time because it depends on the weather and winds, but the winning time has been between 48 and 60 hours and without sleep. And I would say that's one of the biggest issues with the race, or biggest challenges, so to speak.
Right. Yeah. So let's just I'm going to break this down now. So you've got, a key thing to different other races, well, quite a few other races, I guess, is the navigation element.
Exactly. And I think that's a really important part, because when I created this race, I wanted to mix the sports that I love and what is really about human capacity, because when it comes to the distance, you can train for the distance. And when it comes to orienteering and navigation, I think that's a big part as well of for me when it comes to nature, and to be able to read the terrain, be able to read the maps and so on, to find the best way forward. And that is also something that you can train. And then when it comes to the distance from the mental part and with sleep deprivation and so on, that's also something that you can train. So you can actually train. You have no no digital age. You cannot use GPS or anything. It's total analog race, just to see what we humans are capable of. And I think that when it comes to nature and orienteering, that's the foundation, I would say, of the sport.
That's brilliant. I'd actually forgotten that you couldn't use GPS. That's a really cool aspect, actually. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And the race is also divided into 5 sections. So when you start the race, you know where you start, and you know where where you end. But during the 5 stages, you have some unknown checkpoints that you have to pass on the way. So you cannot plan the race in advance. So you have to plan it when you're there in the race. And when the starts goes off, you get the first map, and then you push forward. So that's
wow.
really interesting as well. After like 40 hours, when you get a new map, it's quite tricky for when it comes to sleep deprivation and strategy and planning, and so to speak. So that's a big part of the race as well, to see how can you handle that pressure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that is quite different to a lot of races. A lot of ultra running races and multi-day races and multi-stage races, but I can't think of any at the moment where you don't have the checkpoints until you've actually started the race.
No,
so that's
exactly.
cool.
And that's I have also when producing this race, I the things that I love, because we who are in this, we like to push ourselves and really try to what is the toughest, what would you like to experience when you're doing a race like this. So I really try to mix that all together, so to speak. And it's not when it comes to the distance and the time as well. It's not a race that we try to be like unhealthy when it comes to those parts, because this is a science project as well, together with the Swedish School of Sport and Health Science. So they are in the race as well. When we're planning the distances and so on, what is okay, because we want to go all the way without sleep. And if so when we did for the first year, the winning time was 48 hours. And then I thought, no, okay, we can do this in 48 hours. What will happen if we push it a little bit to like 55 hours? Because then it's getting more tricky when it comes to sleep deprivation and so on. So we tried to push it a little bit further, and then the winning time last year was 60 hours. And I said that we're getting close to the maximum limit to go without sleep and being in a safe position as well, because safety always comes first for us. So I think we're getting close when it comes to time anyway.
That sounds like quite a long time to be moving, navigating, swimming, running. There's so much in here. So we're going to delve into the swimming aspect. Just before we do, I remember with that 48-hour, I think, because I watched the first year and it was the second year last year, and I think you wanted to make it longer, so that's towards that 55, 60 hours. So you've got the flexibility to make the checkpoints slightly farther apart, or you can do that each year, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. We do that every year. So it's not the same course, and we try to find different kind of angles when it comes to or challenges when it comes to the navigation part. And then we also want, when we put out a checkpoint, we want to have multiple ways to go, which means that there are not any, the perfect route isn't there. It's up to you to find out. And it's always you can swim less if you want to. Like last year, for example, you could swim between 8 and 10 Ks less than the winning team did if you wanted to. They didn't want it. They swam a lot more than I thought that they would.
Yeah, it was really interesting last year. The swimming was a massive part of it, and will be again, I'm sure. And once the Daniel and Kristen and Adriel, I think, were their team, they dropped out because they in my world they were the favourites. They dropped out,
sure, yeah,
and then it was wide open, wasn't it? For a little bit, it was like, oh, who's going to win now, or who's going to finish now? Yeah, it's not about. Yeah. Because only one team finished. Is that right? One team?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, one team finished last year. And the difference from, as we said before, this is a new kind of race. And you don't really know what you're getting into until you have done it. So what we have done for this year is that all teams need to set their race strategy when it comes to times and settings and how they will handle different kind of situations during the race, because I think when we have done the race now, the teams that are on the starting line, they have the capacity to reach Lanzarote, but what they are not able to do, if you haven't done it before, is to go with the strategy all the way, so to speak. It's okay to do that for like 24 hours, but after 24 hours you're getting slower in your mind and so on. So for this year, we have a sheet for all the teams to set their pace and the strategy and everything, and we have a dialogue with all the teams, very close when it comes to this strategy, especially when it comes to pace and how to handle different kind of situations, because we want more teams to reach the finish line. We want the closer competition, so to speak, because that's also a part of the race. And so we want to help the team to be more prepared this year, so to speak, because that's also a part of the race that I want to find out, is to see if you add more competition, what will happen to the strategy, to the plans. Will there be any teams that are making wrong decisions, or maybe do a crazy decision just to be able, you understand what I mean? To
under pressure,
what kind of level in the mind and set will we reach when we have a closer competition? And that's also a plan when it comes to the checkpoints, that you have several options, but some options are maybe too really advanced, but you can take them, and it could be a faster way, but you don't know until you have done it. So this is also an aspect that we're really looking forward to this year.
Okay, so in terms of that's interesting. So I'm looking at a map with a checkpoint, okay, and there's a 10K run, a 3K swim, and a 2-kilometer run to get to the checkpoint, or there's a 6K swim and a 7K run. What do you know? Two things. What do the teams know about, first of all, the terrain, the contours, the height gain on the run sections, and what do they know about any tidal flows or currents in the swims?
To start with, when it comes to the terrain, when we started the race, there wasn't any good maps. So we have created our own maps. We have an orienteering map specialist that working with the maps. So we're creating our own maps, which is excellent. excellent.
Yeah.
And all the teams, they get the maps in advance, so they can prepare and they can see. They know Arholma, they know Landsort. They can, see. Okay, so they can plan, so to speak, before the race. They know.
Okay.
And then, of course, they haven't been there. Some of the teams have been there, but they know. And we have some very good orienteer in the teams, like of course Rob Preston, Julian Dent, and Daniel Hansson as well, and so on. So they are so prepared. They know how to read the map. They know exactly when they see the checkpoint and so on. So they know the planning, and they know that where they are fast on land and so on. And then they can actually have digital aid. They can use an iPad or an iPhone to get information when it comes to tides, to weather costs, and so on. So they can plan. So the support member on the boat can be ahead in the planning for that kind of challenges.
Okay, so
that's also the part for the support member. That also the very important part for the support member during the runs and so on, to have that kind of strategy planning, so to speak, to see, okay, that's a good swim, but we have some really strong winds. We won't be able to go as fast as we used to, and so on. That's a really important part as well.
Brilliant. So there could be some dynamic decisions made on the day. So the team, I just come on that the support, because it's kind of a different role, isn't it? So we've got the three moving in the team that are moving, I guess, together. There's one, at least it's a mixed team, so at least one member from each sex. I think it's usually two men and one female, but it could be two female and one man, couldn't it?
Team with two women as well.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's equal. Yeah. And then the support person, who is also part of the team, so it's a team of four, but one's like in a support role. They're on the boat with a skipper for the swims? Yes, is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And during the land sections where the three team members are moving, the support guy is normally on the boat or at a swim entry point, or that kind of swim based. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
Cool. Okay, so how many? So there's 8 teams last year, wasn't there? Was it 8?
7 teams last year.
Right. Okay. And one.
It will be 8 teams this year. Okay. We're having a maximum of 10 teams, and we just and you have to apply to be part of the race, and then we pick the teams that we have the capacity to be able to reach Landsort, and we haven't had 10 teams with that capacity yet, and we won't just pick up a team just to be 10 teams, because we want the teams to be the very best.
Yeah. So on that note, it looks to me like swim run isn't as relevant as sleep deprivation management and navigation, orienteering, and teamwork. And then the swim run's nice to have experience in swim run, but it's the fact it's 60 hours potentially. That's a massive thing, isn't it?
Exactly. When it comes to swim run, it's of course the swim entry and swim exit part, just to be fast. That's really important. But no, it's a good experience. It's nice to have, but it's not about swim run. This is absolutely more when it comes to the sleep deprivation and being able to handle yourself and your team during 60 hours without sleep. And that's really, really difficult. And as we talked also about the support member, the fourth member is a really important part of the team as well. And of course, you don't run, you don't swim, but the teams are self-sufficient. You just get cold water from us as an organization. So the support member needs to plan all the energy, the food, the overall planning, and during the night swims, you have at least between 8 to 10 hours where it's totally pitch black. And it's the support member who is in charge of the navigation during the swims. So you really need, during day, you need to plan for the day and the night and prepare everything. So you need to be there all the time. So it's also very important role to be able to coach your team, to push them forward and so on. It's like you have seen like Julian Dent, for example. He's fantastic, and he's really pushed them sometimes a little bit too far. So I talked to Rob and Glenn and Elizabeth, and they told me they know that when they meet Julian, he will just push them forward. So at some points they want to rest, and then they rest like a few hundred meters before they know that they will meet Julian, so they can take the rest. Because when they meet him, he will just push them forward. So
okay,
it's a really important part.
Yeah. That I think that came across actually last year, and we'll talk about. I'm putting together a Team GB squad, which will apply with for next year, 2025, and I'm a bit worried about being on the support person is quite a role, because you're awake as well, aren't you? You've got to be switched on the whole time.
You need to be. You need to be.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to be there all the time, exactly as everyone else.
Yeah. So we'll see. So the nutrition, I was going to ask, which you've mentioned there. So during the run sections, they're carrying their own nutrition, and then at the swim entry points, you'll meet the support guy, and there'll be food. You can change your clothes. You can have a different wetsuit, or is it kind of?
Sure.
You can do all that stuff.
That's an overall planning, and so the support crew and your team, you're planning the nutrition, and then you know that we need to eat proper food every third hour or fourth hour or so on, and then she need to plan that, and the plan that when they get the map, they have the schedule set from the beginning, but then he needs to plan to be able to have time to warm up water and to make proper food and so on. So it's a lot of planning for the support guy, but they are self-sufficient. They get cold water from us, and then it's totally up to each team to plan and prepare how they will handle the energy and food and so on.
Okay. Is there any? I know you don't get the checkpoints until the race starts, but do you get the maps beforehand?
Yeah, you get the maps, so you can really go into all the islands and see what kind of terrains, what possible ways are there from Arholma to Landsort. You have you can have the checkpoints from recent years and so on. So you can sort of have some kind of plan. If we reach this area, this is so. But there's always something new. We try to find new ways and new challenges every year, and that's also part because I don't want the race to be the same. The start and the finish is the same, but apart from that, it changes every year.
Yeah, cool. And so, what are the dates for 2024 this year? Is it the 19th of August
to the 22nd of August?
Okay.
Yeah, we always have it in the end of August. It would be fantastic to make it in June and July when you have sun 24 hours, but it would be too easy. We want the darkness, and the darkness we have in the end of August. So that's a big part of the race.
Okay. And how does that? How does the week? Because you go out a few days in advance, don't you? And there's it's kind of a full week.
Yeah. It's a fantastic week almost that all spend together, because the start is always on a Tuesday, and all the teams are invited, and they're coming to Stockholm on the Saturday, and then we have a very nice hotel accommodation for all the teams in the center of Stockholm, and they spend Saturday and Sunday in Stockholm, and then we take a boat up to Arholma on Sunday morning, Sunday lunch, and then we spend 2 days up at Arholma before the start, partly for doing some media things, and but mostly for the team to be able to go into the race bubble and just to be there. And we don't have any plans for the team. We have the race meeting. We have the race meeting on Sunday afternoon, so they have all Sunday evening and all Monday just off to just go into the race bubble, and we have a fantastic accommodation and so up at Arholma, and we are all the crew, and it's like a family team. We have such a great and big crew. We are like 90 people in the crew.
Wow.
During the race. We are about 20 boats, 40 skippers, and we have 16 ultra runners joining the team. We have runners with the team all the time for footage and so on, and we do the live production. So we're like about 90 people in the organization, and now with the teams, I think this year we're almost up to 120, I think.
Right. Brilliant. So that's a cool. So you have an ultra runner running alongside the team's recording live footage. Cool.
Yes, exactly. Because my background, has a big part for me is the media part. I've been working with sports, TV, and media for all my life, and so when I started with this, when I started with SwimRun like 14 years ago, and with ÖTÖ and everything, I knew that this is so fantastic. This setting and everything is and this is really good drama, so to speak. So then, of course, from a media perspective, but also from a safety perspective, we want to be with the teams all the time. So we have ultra runners running with the team and making footage 24 hours a day. So we are there all the time for safety, but also we want to be there with our media team when things happen.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad you mentioned yourself there, because I was going to ask, who is Thomas? Who is Thomas Ogander?
Well, I'm getting old now. I'm 56 years old, and I'm from Stockholm, and I have my military background in the Swedish archipelago, as well as a Swedish Navy combat diver. And I've always been into endurance and long distance projects in all my life. The longer and harder they have been, the more I love it. And then I was quite into triathlon and Ironman and so on. Then I found ÖTÖ like 14 years ago, I think. Something like that, and that really got me hooked into SwimRun and this part of endurance. Just you against nature, and just pushing forward, swimming, running. Just no help, just go push forward. So then I did ÖTÖ like the World Championship like 5 times, 2 podiums I have.
Wow.
And then, like 2013, I think, because in my mind, I started to plan the route Arholma-Landsort at 2013, I think.
Wow.
So then I started to think, okay, well, why don't we take the whole archipelago? Because Arholma, Landsort, that's a classic route in the archipelago and in Sweden. So I started to plan that, and then like 4 years ago, during the pandemic, we did the distance, me and my training friends.
Okay.
So, and that was me and George Bjelkemo and Pontus Lindberg. They were ÖTÖ champions the year before, and Annika Eriksson, Kristin Larsson, and so we trained together, and then we said, okay, let's do it, and then we did it, and during we did it in 3 days, and during those days I started to plan the race. Actually, I start from the first swim from Arholma in the sunrise. I said I need to do something with this, and it was also part of my life that when I felt like, well, I'm a little bit, well, I want to do what I think is fun. I want to do what I'm is fascinating of, and I want to explore new things and so on. So then I was just decided to, okay, let's go for this, because I love this. Try to make the perfect race, try to make the perfect media coverage, and also try to broaden the sport, so to speak, because I've been into sport from many different kind of perspectives, and when it comes to endurance sports and so on, the media coverage is so poor, but the endurance races, they are really the stars, I think. And when it comes to endurance, the drama and everything, so I was really into what could we do for endurance races from all over the world to find the perfect place for them to find a race where they really can compete against the best in the world with the best media coverage, and really try to spread the drama, so to speak. And that has been really interesting, because for about a year and a half, we're working now together with an organization as well called ASO, Omri Sports Organization. That's a French company. They own Tour de France and L'Equipe in France and so on. They're very good in endurance sports, so to speak, but both when it comes to a production perspective, but not as least from a distribution perspective. So they are now working with the distribution, and our media productions are now distributed last year to 190 countries over 5 continents. So One Water Race and the endurance races are really spread now all over the world, and that's fantastic, I would say.
Yeah. Wow.
When we start working with them, I was my plan, or I would be so happy if we could, reach out to like 5 or 10 nations. But now we have 190 last year. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a lot of nations. Yeah. So, okay, you covered a lot there, and it's great to hear your passion for it. It definitely comes across, and I think, to be honest, anyone who's tried SwimRun, and obviously smaller versions, most people. Even the World Championship course is significantly smaller than this. But anyone who's tried SwimRun, as far as I can tell, loves it, and has just has a different passion than maybe for some other sports. So it's good to hear your story, and thank you for sharing. One thing I've just remembered while you were talking there about a couple of things was when you were talking about your previous races, did you do what was your longest endurance race yourself in the past?
I think it must have been It must have been when we did Arholma Landsort, when we tried the course.
The course,
but then
yeah.
we slept a few hours
Okay.
during each day, but it was anyway a long distance and a long period of time. Otherwise, it's mainly from my military background, because
Right.
then it's of course not a race, but we're into it, and during military motion for several days without sleep. So that's
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's
from
that's
that.
good.
But this is really interesting as well, because when I've been racing, it's like more, like Ironman, ÖTÖ, and so on. But when I started to plan this and also did it and so on, then when it comes to, I'm really fascinated when it comes to the sleep deprivation part, because this is really what this race is all about, I would say. And so and this is also so interesting, because we, as I said before, this is also a science project with the Swedish School of Sport and Health Science, and also Karolinska Institutet from a medical perspective, and from KTH, the Royal Technical Academy, so to speak. So we work with sensors on the races. We had sensors on about half of the races last year, and we will have sensors on all races this year. But it was really interesting, because to follow the racers during the race, and also because we can see the monitoring of the activity, of the temperature and everything. And also we have medical teams and scientists on site during the race, and it's really interesting to talk from a scientific and medical perspective in this kind of areas. And we have also been into we had a seminar in South Africa together with the Adventure Racing World Championships in October, November. So it's really interesting, this part, because for these kind of races, it doesn't matter if you run 100 Ks more. That's not the difference. The difference is how will you handle the sleep deprivation for yourself and for your team, and so on. So this is, it's of course it's about the physical part, but it's the mental part. And that's also when I think when it's mixed teams, because when it comes to the mental part, women are most of the time stronger than men are. So this is also so really interesting to see what is the actual challenge here. Of course, we have the physical part, but the mental part, and how you can see how that changed. It's not the physical part that changed during the race; it's the mental part only, I would say. So this is really interesting, and see how should you prepare for a race like this. What are your, the components in your body? Of course, you need to swim and run, but this is a really interesting part here.
Yeah. I've there's a couple of things. I did a couple of adventure races, 5-day ones, team, where you have mixed teams, one in Scotland and one in Wales, and in the Scotland one we had a much better strategy. You were talking about strategy, and you had the option to go short course, which was about 400 kilometers, and there's mountain biking and there's all sorts going on. And we chose that, and it worked for us. We finished the race. We were confident then, went into Wales and decided to go long course, which was something like 500 odd kilometers. And we weren't up to it. And we were trying to keep up so much. We just, after, I think it was about 30 something hours, we just fell asleep going up a mountain. And we just completely messed up the strategy. yeah, so it was interesting. But I remember talking about the navigation and the orienteering. That's also a real mental pressure, particularly if you've only got one standout navigator, which isn't great because if there's, which sometimes happens. I know I used to organise Duke of Edinburgh award expeditions where kids would go out, camping and navigating across the hills. And there'd usually be one person who could navigate and the rest were just following him or her. Yeah. And if they had a problem, then there's a problem. And the mental strain of having to navigate is quite, it's tiring, isn't it? So that's, it's I think for Team GB, I want redundancy in the system for the navigation.
Yeah. No, but that's really important. It is. And
So I'm putting together this team, and it's going to be interesting. We have a training weekend in Wales in August, just before this year's edition of the race, and then I'm sure the team will, the squad. I want to build a squad. I've got 4 plus me 5. I'm going to try and get some more because I guess injuries happen. You need reserves, etc. So I'll let you know how that goes, and then we'll obviously watch the footage mid-August.
It will be more it will be bigger live production this year. That's also what has been my dream from the beginning, to have the live production. And everyone, even though I'm from the sport TV and media industry, and everyone told me that it's crazy, no one will watch a 65-hour live feed. No, but you have to wait and see, and it's really a good drama. You don't have to be an endurance athlete or anything like that to enjoy or to really catch the drama here. And this year we will push it even more forward. We will have like 15 different 15 cameras and everything. We work really hard to take the live production to really next level, because this is also, I think, it's so important for the sport as well to be seen. And the people that are doing endurance races or adventure races and so on, their family and friends or people all over, they don't experience it because they see them on the starting line and then the finish line. They don't know what they are going through. And this is what I think is so fascinating with these people, what they are going through during a race, that you really want to show for the world that this is a really good drama and these are heroes.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really what we try to do here as well.
Yeah. And one of the unique things, I think there's a few unique things about the One Water race, but I guess if I said to a friend who was an ultra runner or, Ironman, it's 250K, the hardest team event, they might think 250K, it's not that far, but there's more to it. And the aspect we haven't covered really is the amount of swimming. I mean, there's no race that has 50 or 60K of swimming and 200 kilometers of running. There's a lot of people who can run or jog or walk 200 kilometers.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people who can swim 50 kilometers.
No.
And there's even less who can do both. And then there's less who can navigate and not sleep. And so it's the whole package, isn't it?
Yeah.
That makes it.
Yeah, it is. And that's what I love as well. I love the swimming part because you can do ultra runs, but you can always walk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Swim, that's a different part. And if you don't swim, you're not getting any further and you cannot stop. I don't know. Have you seen the first episode of Road to One Water Race with Glenn Wilkinson?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. When he talks about dancing at the long swim, that is about 6.5 Ks. And he said, you swim for an hour it looks the same. You swim for another half an hour, it still looks the same. It's
Yeah. I did watch that. That was great. Daunting. So, I guess the swimming. I mean, kind of surely, but the swim, as you say, you can walk, you can jog, you can have a little run. Swimming, your pace on the swimming has got to be pretty consistent, really. If it drops, 25%, then you're dropping quite a lot of time. So it's Anyway, it's great. It's exciting to be just hear about it and hopefully take part in it one day. I'll try and spread the word here in the UK, Thomas.
I'm so looking forward to see you, and that you're always welcome to join us as well in August if you want.
Well, I've thought about it. I'll have to speak to the home bosses, my life partner and toddler, and cats. But we will have the support member from Team 3 USA, Kristen, from last year. She will come over to be an ultra runner this year. Cool.
So that's fantastic. They are not racing, but she wants to be back and feel the atmosphere and be part of the race and the crew. So she will join us in August.
Yeah. Oh, on that point, is with the teams, the family go along? Can the family go to the hotel?
Family could absolutely go to the hotel. Up in Orholma, we are. It's not that big, but there are other accommodations where family could live, and we also can provide help with boats and everything, so they can see and follow the race. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, Thomas, thank you very much for coming on, and
thank you.
I'll hopefully see you soon.
Here. Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Bye. Bye.
That's it, guys. The one water race. Wow. What can I say? It's quite a beast of an experience by the sounds of it. If you are interested in joining the Team GB squad, then get in touch with your credentials. Thank you, Thomas, for putting on the one water race with all the work that's involved. It sounds like quite a project. And the live coverage was excellent last year and is set to be even better in 2024. So check it out. Tune in. 20th of August. That's when it starts, and it finishes a couple of days later or so, hopefully. So, big one. As I said at the start of the show, like, follow, share, subscribe, all those things on the podcast help it grow and get the word out on SwimRun, whether it's a 2-kilometer swim run or a 250-kilometer swim run. It's great to get the word out there and get more people involved. So that's all for now.